So you guys are going to be 20F. Okay. All right. I need you guys. Awesome. People at home, your camera's on, your whole face is showing. Beautiful. Love it. Okay. I need a favor from you guys here. And the favor is this. You see this timer right here? If this is not going, or if this is paused, let me know so that I know that I'm actually recording. Okay? So my first question to you guys is, for the ones that never taken a course on FSW, or you've taken other courses with FSW, but not with me, my question to you is, oh, by the way, people at home, just so you guys know, just unmute yourself and speak. You don't have to raise your hand. You don't have to go, oh, I'm at home, so I don't have a voice. You guys can speak too. Just unmute yourself and speak, okay? I just look at it as one student sitting on a pedestal. So what kind of information that you wish that your other professors had in their Canvas homepage now that you've seen other Canvas homepages? The ones that have been with me, you guys already know the answer, so you guys don't need to answer. Unless you want to answer like you would have asked it the first time you guys took me. So what kind of information would you have wanted? Is there any certain particular ones? And just so you guys know, these right here are homemade coasters. Homemade meaning I cut up a bunch of doormats to make it coasters. And it's all for this. So that she doesn't leave a trail of water droplets for the next student to ruin their notes. All right? All right. So what kind of information would you guys want in your Canvas homepage? Here, I'll help you start. Like if I were sitting in your seat, I would love to know when the exam dates were, so I can plan my vacations around it. Never taken one, but let's say that, right? So let's start with that. Okay, give me more. What's due in each week? Awesome. What else? Helpful notes regarding, I'm going to cross out the word modules there because I hate modules. You know why I hate modules? Because if you look at modules, and every single module, it looks gray, white, black, and a spot of green. You know what that reminds me of? So for the ones that have ever been up north, I'm from upstate New York, there is such a thing called seasonal depression. This is, and if you guys don't understand seasonal depression, let me explain it to you. Whenever you wake up and it's gray outside, do you feel like waking up? No. You feel like just staying in bed. Now, imagine that occurring for 9 months out of the year. Would you be seasonally depressed? That's what happens up north. That's the gray part of things. The white part of things, the snow. The green part of things, you're like, how's he going to come with this one? Well, when the dog goes outside and pees on the grass, and there's an opening going, oh, look, there's grass underneath. That's the green that I see. So the modules reminds me of up north with seasonal depression and dog peeing in the snow. And that's where the saying of don't eat the yellow snow came from. Okay? For good reason. So that's why I don't like modules. But okay, lessons. What else would you guys want to know? So you want good notes. Where the recordings are. It would be nice to know that, right? Instead of like having to search, right? What else? You don't have to answer. You already know. You guys already know the answer. Keep on going. Anything else? Because searching for those things are kind of a hassle, isn't it? When it's like kind of unorganized, it's really hard to search. Anything else that you guys wish that your modules, your Canvas pages would have that you're like, oh, look, it's all right here? Okay. I'll address that specifically. Keep on going. How to reach me. Great. What else? The syllabus. Okay. What else?
Reviews after each module, combining them all to lead you up to the final.
So a review for each exam and also a review for the final exam. Great. What else? A rubric for the homework assignments. Great. What else? For the ones that had me before, do you think the Canvas homepage addresses those issues? So they say it does. Let's take a look. So people at home, nothing? No questions? You're like, just give me whatever. I'm good with it. Nothing. All right. You're like, everything's fine. Well, here, I know where everything is. Well, every my courses. All right, let's go to your Canvas homepage. So when you go in Canvas, here's what your homepage looks like. Okay, let me see. Yep. All right, so this is your Canvas homepage. I'm going to spoil you with this Canvas homepage because nobody else has this Canvas homepage. Okay? That's the sad part. So when you leave me, you'll be like, F, what do I do now? All right, so first of all, let's look at these 6 buttons up top. So I typically get an email saying, I'm trying to join Zoom. I don't know how to join. And I say, click the large Zoom button. So the button that says, to join class virtually, Zoom. That button right there gets you into class. And I'm going to guess the ones at home right now saw that button, clicked on that button, and that's why they're there. And the standard for that is that your camera has to be on. Your whole face needs to be showing, because I want to see your beautiful face. From head, sorry, top of the head to the chin, not from head to tail. All right, because that would be taken all sorts of ways. I don't want to see your hairline. I don't want to see the corner of your ceiling. I don't want to see your ceiling fan rotating around, because that might just hypnotize me, and then I forget what I'm teaching. All right, I want to see your beautiful face. Got it? Okay. Now, so that's how you get into class virtually. Fair? No questions? Okay. I feel like I'm like presenting a magic show. No questions? See, nothing? BiblioU. So the second one is BiblioU for your access code. If you click on that, think of BiblioU as your textbook keeper. Okay? I won't even call it a bookstore, but I did call it a bookstore before. Let's call it a textbook keeper. So when you go into Canvas, on the left-hand side, you have a bunch of links on the left-hand side. That is called the global navigation menu. Okay? On that side, you have a BiblioU course materials. If you click on that, you will see what's below it. So you will see this book right here. The title should be MAC 1105-20F. That's for me. If you click on it, it will show you an access code. You're going to copy that access code. Okay? Cool? All right. So after you get that done, you're going to go back to the global navigation menu. And over there, you'll see Access Pearson. When you click on Access Pearson, it'll ask you to log in. So if you had a MyLab Mastering account, you can type in the username and password, and you log in. You enter the access code. You're good to go. If you've never had one of those accounts before, you create an account, log in, throw in the access code, and now you have your textbook. Okay? So that's BiblioU. So that link is always there for you to follow these directions if you need to. All right. The third, we're here on Collier campus in N102. So for you guys at home, if you haven't been on this campus before, don't know where N102 is, that is the button you want to click. And for you who brought your friend that it was lost, don't know where to go, if she would have came to the campus homepage and clicked on Collier campus N102, she would have seen a wonderful campus map that I created from Google Earth. There it is. And look, it says Chan's class room, N102. But first, you have to know where the heck you are, right? Because those letters on the buildings don't tell me where you are. But that's where it is. So people at home, if you don't know where N102 is, it's right there. All right? The class does not take place on the roof. It's actually on the first floor, but that points directly above me. Okay? So I'm going to go counterclockwise. Building M is where adaptive services are, advisors, bookstore, bursars, financial aid, registrars, and the testing center. So if you're taking the exam with adaptive services, the testing center is in Building M, so that's where you would go to take your exams. Continue on. If you're looking for tutoring service, no matter if it's math or English, that is going to be in Building G, which is your library. All right. I do have a fellow past student that is tutoring there in person, and his hours, if you guys want to take a picture of this, Tuesday he's going to be there 11 to 2, Wednesday 4 to 6, Thursday 12 to 5. His name is Daniel Reynolds. So if you guys have questions about the things I do, he does have answers to that. And he will probably stay with the standards I stay. So if you try to get him to nudge him to help you cheat, he probably won't anyways, because that's just the standard he has. Okay. My office is in Building F. So if you're trying to bring me thousands and thousands of dollars in cash, don't bother bringing it there, because chances are I'll be right here. So just bring it to me straight. Okay? Thank you. Or keys to a Tesla, just bring it here as well. Don't leave it there, because someone might just pick it up and not let me know. All right? So on Tuesday, Thursdays, I basically teach from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. straight. So you might have to come in like between classes or whatever you want. If you need a double dose of me, you can come at a 12 p.m. class and a 1:30 class, and you'll get a double dose of me, because both those classes are actually college algebra. And if you can't make it on Tuesday class or Thursday class, if you want to come on Monday and Wednesday at noon, is the same exact class. Okay? All right. And then going on to the IT help desk. So why in the world would I bring up the IT help desk? So first of all, how do I locate it? For the folks in here, if you guys go out these doors right here, you'll see the wall, you see the stairs, you see the bushes. In that little triangle, if you look directly that way, you're going to see a set of doors with a letter A on it. That'll be Building A. And those are a set of doors that you actually want to walk through. So why do I even point this out? Actually, it's probably this A right here that you see. Or is it on this side? I can't remember. All right. Why do I bring that up? Number one, if you can't get into Florida Southwestern State College Wi-Fi, then you might want to go there because they have computers right there. You can change your password like this, and they want to make sure that you connect it before you even leave. Okay? So that you guys don't have to go into the guest Wi-Fi. The guest Wi-Fi is literally for guests. Right? What's the difference between the two? Well, the guest Wi-Fi and the FSW Wi-Fi, Florida Southwestern State College Wi-Fi is about bandwidth. So guest Wi-Fi has less bandwidth. So let's say, for example, 75 is down to 2 lanes. How awesome is the traffic going to be then? Not so good, right? Okay. And then if you're not paying attention, someone sneaks in front of you, right? They just cut you off. Same thing with guest Wi-Fi here. If you stop using it, someone gets in, you get kicked off because you're not using it. Now, Florida Southwestern State College has more bandwidth, so it's like taking 75. Let's expand it to 20 lanes. Traffic is way better, way smoother, but I'm sure that we can figure out how to create a jam anyways. It's like Philly. Philly is the same way. I can't remember what that highway is, but it's like is like 10 lanes and is always jam-packed, and I don't know why. No idea why. Like what starts that traffic jam? No clue. Okay? So you want to get off the guest Wi-Fi. You want to get to Florida Southwestern State College. Okay? So that's the first thing that they're good for. Second thing they're good for. If some of you guys at home right now are going to decide to take the exam remotely, you're going to need one of these. An external webcam. The camera on your laptop, no good. External. Okay? If you're taking it at the testing center because you have adaptive services, don't worry about it. That has nothing to do with it. So the IT department will give you one of these for free. Okay? So if you're planning on taking the exam remotely, they will give you one for free. Just bring your student ID number. They put you down, but they're only going to give you one for free. So if you don't take care of it and damage it, you're just going to buy your own. Got it? Third, if you're sitting there going, man, I wish I had a laptop I can use for the semester, great. IT department does that too. You can go and rent out a laptop for the semester. Okay? So you have that choice as well. That's another way of doing it. So that's what the IT help desk can help you guys with. So that's why I point them out. And last but not least, faculty parking. If you drive past this building right here and cross over, that is faculty parking. So I'm asking you guys not to park there. Park here and beyond. Okay? But you're like, but there's so much space over there. Some of you guys are going to think that. I can just park here. It's no big deal. There's so much space. Then I would say the same thing to you. If there was an event happening close to your house, and I'm just going to park my car right in front of it, I'm just going to start selling parking spaces all along your yard, how are you guys going to feel? Are you guys going to like it? But I'm like, but there's so much space. I might as well make some money while I'm doing this, right? We'll cut it in half. There's so much space. You're like, no, get out of my yard. Same idea. Okay? Although that's not my yard, but it's still my space. Okay? So I ask you guys not to park there. At least don't park in this part right here, because that's where I usually park. All right? That's where I usually park. All right? So at least not park there. Okay. Next one says how to take exams remotely. So if you're planning on taking exams remotely, you might want to familiarize with that button right there. All right? So you want to read through this, and then here, these two pictures, I want to show you guys because, number one, with the external camera, most external cameras, the cable is not long enough for you guys to make this setup happen. So you might have to purchase a USB extender, okay, to make these two things happen. Now notice what I can see here. I can see his face, his hands, whiteboard. No, it's not scrap paper, whiteboard. If you don't have a whiteboard, guys, if you don't want to buy one, that's certainly fine. Find a nice size picture frame that you have in your house that is made with a glass front. Take the picture out, put a white sheet of paper underneath it. Now you have a whiteboard. Okay? The calculator, I can see the keyboard, I can see the screen. I need to see all of that. That's why the external webcam is necessary for that to occur. Okay? If that cannot occur, then you can't take the exam remotely. All right? Sometimes it's slightly behind them, sometimes the side view. Most likely it's going to be slightly behind you. Okay? So you might want to go through the requirements to make sure that you're doing that. And that your Wi-Fi is pretty good. Unlike the States, sometimes it goes on and off, so we got to be careful with that. Okay? Any questions so far? So the next one is talking about Florida Southwestern State College Wi-Fi. And that will be showing you guys the different devices and how to connect with them. For students, what your username is, and your password is your portal password. Okay? So you guys are welcome to try it on your own. If not, go to the IT department and take care of it. Last, the 3 truths. And you're wondering, what the heck is that? Well, the 3 truths, and this is something I'm going to ask you guys at the end of the semester as well, is I've asked my past students if they're comfortable of sharing the 3 suggestions they have for you guys that they can pass forth to say, these are the 3 things you ought to do to pass this class. This semester, I decided to put my 3 truths in there, what I think that you guys should do. Okay? That's in bold in the top. Everything else is from past students. Cassie C, I think that says Bella K, and so on and so forth. There's a bunch of, there's like 5 pages. So here's my 3 truths. Condense your notes after every class, right? Because you were talking about summary. I'm going to have you guys do that. Condense your notes after every class. This process involves summarizing and reconstructing notes to focus on key concepts. So what are the key things that we talked about today? What are the steps on those problems that we learned? Right? What are the key steps that we did? So you might want to go through a problem going, he did this on step 1, did this on step 2, did this on step 3. So this way you summarize it, and it's much easier. This will also help you create the best cheat sheet ever that you're never going to use. So from those condensed notes, you're going to rewrite it again, but now you're going to say, if God forbid that Champ bumps his head, and for some reason he's like, you guys can use a cheat sheet for the next exam, you're like, woohoo, I got one. What will be on that cheat sheet? Okay? And for me, it's not about, because it sounds like it's a lot of work, and you're not sure if there is a good return to it, right? For me, it's more about the long game. Because to me, to study for an exam, the front and back side of a page is a lot easier to study than 20, 30 pages of notes. That's number 1. Now, long game, what does that mean? Let's go to the final exam, because your final exam is going to be comprehensive. So is it better to go through 80 to 120 pages of notes or 4 sheets of paper? To me, that's a long game. Okay? And if those 4 sheets of paper, there's parts that you're confused about, you go to your condensed notes, because that's still going to be a lot less than the 80 to 120 pages of paper. Okay? So to me, that's the way I look at it. And there is research that says that this helps, and the ROI on rewriting your notes will pay off. I promise you that. Open lab works early to see what questions you might have. If the lessons don't answer your questions, ask me during class. You should be done with the lab work at the end of class on Wednesday or Thursday. For you guys, it will be Thursday. For Monday, Wednesday class by Wednesday. Okay? And then you should always do all of the optional assignments. It will help you with your exams. And if you ask any of my past students, they're going to say, yeah. Okay? But you're welcome to read through the rest of those. And through the semesters, if you guys have any, please feel free to share. So after those 6 buttons, you see 4 different tabs there. Attendance verification, you guys already know about that. You guys all have to do that anyways. It will remind you in week 1 and week 2, and then after that, it's done. I'm going to skip over the audio syllabus, but if you want to listen to the syllabus audio-wise, a good overview of the course, you're welcome to listen to that. I'll explain to you how I got to that. Grade calculator is only going to be talked about after exam 2. There's 3 of them in here. One is after exam 2, one is after exam 3, and one is after exam 4. Okay? So let's talk about apps to download. If you have not yet bought a calculator, I have a free one for you. So that this way you don't have to spend $80 to $120 for one. Oh, perfect. Even better, right? Because after the next department meeting, the old TI-84 might not be usable anymore, but this one is. Okay? However, I got a free one for you. It's called Desmos Test Mode. So if you go in your App Store or your Google Store and download Desmos Test Mode, Again, if you search Desmos, it's all going to be green logos. The one with the blue logo is the test mode. That's the one that's allowed. And it's allowed for during your exam. Okay? So it's free. There is a 4-function calculator, a scientific calculator, and a graphing calculator in it. And it's in color. Is that in color? No, black and white. Dang it. Okay? But this is in color. All right? So again, that's free. The second one is Remind. So, one of the number one rules in this class is this. Some of you guys feel like you're adults, but you're not. But you want to be treated like adults. So I am going to treat you guys all like adults. Every single one of you guys. So if you need me to hold your hand like a 5-year-old, I'm not the professor for you. I'm a hands-off kind of guy. Or kind of professor. So, what does it mean to treat you guys like adults? Means your choices are going to come with consequences. Good choice, good consequence. Bad choice, bad consequence. And if you think it's a good choice, but it was a bad one, you'll figure it out because the consequences will come with it. So if you don't want to come to class, don't come to class. Don't want to do homework? Don't do it. I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm not going to chase you down, right? Now, if you're missing, miss a week or so, or homework is lacking, I might pull you aside and going, is everything okay? I might ask that, but I'm not going to be like, where's your assignment? Did you study? Did you do this? Did you do that? Not that guy, okay? So, but the reason why I'm saying that is because the next app I'm going to have you guys download is called Remind. And you think that I'm going to remind you of things. It's not. I'm like, okay. So just so you guys know, the first homework assignment is due tomorrow at 6 p.m. Not that guy. What's the Remind app for then? The Remind app is for this. While I'm doing notes, if there's a section of the notes that you're like, man, there's too much detail in there, I can't write it all down, you can just raise your hand and say, hey, can you put that example on Remind? Okay, I'm going to send you guys all an invitation to Remind. If you decide to go on it, I'll take a screenshot of that and send it to Remind. And then every time you open the app, that file is there. Make sense? Okay. Most of you guys would take out your phone and try to take a screenshot of their screen, right? It's going to be an awful picture because from that side, it's going to look all slanted. Only my eyes can see that. None of you guys can. So that's what we got to be careful with. And plus, you got to scroll through like 50 selfies to get to it. So I don't want to disrupt your selfies, all right? So that way, it's all in Remind. You don't have to put any math in your photos, all right? So that's what the Remind app is for. The center column is 3 apps because your lab work, that your second assignment, is called lab work. And you're going to have to scan that with a scanner. I'm giving you 3 apps that you can use to scan. One's OneDrive, one's Genius Scan, and one's Cam Scanner. Most of you guys use Cam Scanner. I still don't understand why you guys like Cam Scanner, because every single time I use it, there's ads that pop up, pop up, pop up, pop up. And I got to find that X, because I feel like I need to pay for it, but there's got an X. I got to be able to get out of this, right? I don't know why you guys like it, but OneDrive doesn't have that. And because you're FSW students, you log in with your FSW credentials, guess what? You have a free cloud service. So you can store your papers in there, everything you scan goes in there, and then you can pull it out from your laptop. All right? But you guys do you. You do whatever you want.
So essentially, is that like what we do on MyLab Math, like all the questions and stuff?
Not MyLab Math.
No.
I'll explain all of that, but just the lab work, because there's 2 assignments. And I'll explain when we get to week 1. Okay? Any questions so far? Okay? So hold that question. All right, so down here is some AI tools that I've used. One of them I have not yet used. I need to get into it, and I've been asked to pilot it, so I would be talking about that as well. So first of all, first one is called Notebook LM. So I usually use this with the students that are going through nursing or some kind of STEM major, or like taking A&P and stuff like that, I usually bring this up to them. Because Notebook LM is AI based on what you feed it. Okay? So let's say A&P. You go through a lecture, there's 53 slides. You take those 53 slides, you convert it to PDF, you upload to Notebook LM, and you say, create a study guide. It creates a study guide. Glossary. It gives you all the keywords and what the meanings of those words are from those PDFs. Better yet, you tell it to create the podcast. You'll create a podcast with a male AI voice and a female AI voice, and it will talk you through the general theme of those 53 slides. So, with that being said, I actually uploaded the syllabus and then like what I think is important in this course into Notebook LM, and that's how the audio syllabus came about. So if you click on the audio syllabus, you will hear an AI male voice and an AI female voice talking about my course, how exciting it is. It's not that exciting. All right? But that's what Notebook LM is. Second one is ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I've been telling my students to use it for the last year or so. And if you guys haven't used it, I'm going to encourage you guys to use it as well. Now, a lot of professors are nervous about this, especially the ones that are writing paper. I don't blame them. Because what do you guys do? You like, write me a paper, and then you like, copy, paste. You don't read it. You just send it. You should really read it, because it might just be talking crap about you, and you're like, I had no idea. I'm admitting to all these things right now, right? To me, if I was to think back to when I was writing papers, there's only two places that I got stuck on writing the paper. Let's see if you agree with me. The first is the idea. The second is the first paragraph. After that, you can't shut me up. Is that true? So why not use chat to take care of that speed bump? In fact, reread that first paragraph and make it your own. Right? So if you use chat to write a paper, okay, read it. And then use those ideas to write your own. So you're using your own ideas, your identity, and what chat has done, and you're combining them. Now it became your paper. Right? If you just copy and paste, guess what? Nah, you're cheating. Makes sense. Right? If I was to steal a car and sell it to you, guess what? You're going to lose the car, and I'm going to get arrested. Right? But you're still losing a car. Right? So, in ChatGPT, if you don't know an answer, you could scan it in there and say, what's the answer? It'll tell you. If you tell it to walk you through it, it's going to walk you through it. If you're going to tell it to explain, it's going to explain it. All of that's going to be there. Okay? And I'm going to tell you that after 7 p.m. is when most of you guys start doing homework. Guess what? There's no tutors around. There's only one tutoring service that's available that FSW offers, which is BrainFuse, which you'll see on the navigation menu as well. That's a 24-hour chat-based service. I'm going to tell you to use ChatGPT. There's a voice side of things. You can actually talk to it at 7 p.m. And guess what? That voice is not in a hurry to get anywhere. It's not late for dinner. Doesn't have a crying baby that is waiting for them. Did not just break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend. Always in a great mood to help tutor you as well. So, and I don't answer anything after 6 p.m. So therefore, I'm not going to be available either. So you either got BrainFuse or you can talk to chat, and that's why I like to use chat. Sidespace. Sidespace is an AI that only is only trained by research papers. So if you wanted to know one of my 3 truths, hey, does rewriting my notes help me with recall and memorization of material, ask Sidespace. It will show you the research papers and what it says. I promise you, because that's where I got it from. All right? And then Claude Box is something that I am just starting to use. So I'm going to be actually using it. And then Claude is what I usually use for my meetings. I take the transcript of my Zoom meetings with my agenda, and then it creates minutes for me. So that's what I use Claude for, and then I go over it, fine-tune, saying I don't need this in there, I need this in there, and so on and so forth. Okay? So those are some of the AIs that I would strongly suggest for you. All right? So any questions so far? So far, so good? Okay. So some of the things that I have not yet taken care of is resources, study guides. Is that right? Okay. So let's go into week 1. So in week 1, it's cut into sections. First section is called lectures. Okay? On the left side says lecture notes. On the right side says lecture videos. On the left side, we click on 1.4, lecture notes. Guess what? You have a PDF of the notes that has already been pre-done. Yes? Awesome. On the right says lecture videos, and you're like, where are the videos? Well, if you look at the arrows on the right, is a pull-down menu. You click on that, you see 1.4 notes or video, and 1.5 and 1.6. The video corresponds with the PDF on the left-hand side. I've had students in the past that have done the notes and the video before they even come to class. This way they already know the questions they want to ask or they need clarification with, and they find that that helps them with learning much better. Okay? But you guys can do whatever you guys want. And at the end of class today, what I'm recording right now is also going to be posted here under 1.4. And chances are today I'm only going to cover 1.4, and that means the assignments for 5 and 6, the due dates for 5 and 6 will be moved to next Saturday and not due this Saturday. Okay? So I'm going to talk about the next 2 sections together, MLM assignments and lab work assignments. So every week you have 2 assignments that are due. One's MLM and one's lab work. So let's talk about MLM first. MLM is what I talked about in the beginning about Access Pearson. That's your MLM assignments. MLM assignments are self-submitting, self-grading. I don't need to see any work from it, but again, it's self-submitting, self-grading. Meaning that if you do 2 problems and saying, time to go to work, you go to work, you come back home, you're like, 10%? Why did Chang grade my stuff? I didn't grade it. Because it's self-submitting, self-grading. So if you go back in and do more problems, get more problems correct, that percentage will go up. The only time that that percentage is solidified is at Saturday at 6 p.m. Saturday at 6 p.m. is when it's, 6:01, it'll be solidified. So when you only got 40%, by Saturday at 6 p.m., you have a 40%. Unless I reopen MLM. Okay? Now, you might be wondering why Saturday at 6 p.m.? Why 6 p.m. in general? Because everybody else is midnight. Well, because of this. I don't answer any questions after 6 p.m. I try to go to bed around 8, 9-ish. Sometimes it doesn't happen, but that's my goal. Okay? And I know that around 5 p.m., 4 p.m., 4:35 p.m. is when I start getting messages. I was saying, how do I do this? How do I do this? I just do. Well, guess what? If it was due at midnight, that means at about 10 or 11, I'm starting to get those messages, and then you're going to be peeved off. Thank you. Now you can. Awesome. So what typically happens, and it's, in Florida it's a little bit tougher because you guys all have recessed lighting. So scanning with a shadow is tough. And the reason why you guys get shadows is because when you scan this way. With a scanner, you can scan this way, and the scanner will make the adjustment to make it square back up again without the shadow. The shadow is only there because you're above the paper. But if you're away from the paper, there's no shadows. And the scanner will adjust that for you. Okay? So that's why I want you guys to have a dry run. I want to see if you guys can get those things done without it affecting your grade. Is that fair? Okay. Let me see. So if you're wondering, now don't forget, I want the scan to be one PDF file with multiple pages. Just like your review, when you get a review, guess what? You're going to have like 5 pages, but it's all one file. I didn't say review 1, page 1, review 2, page 2. Like that would kind of get annoying, doesn't it? Right? Same thing with you. I just want one file with multiple pages. So all of these scanners, so if you don't know how to scan, if you click on how to scan lab work, there will be 3 tutorials there as well for those 3 scanners that I suggested. All the scanners do the same thing. It's either 1 or 2 that you can get multiple pages. One is that you're going to see a toggle between single and batch. Single means that you only want to take one page, take a picture of one page, and that's it. Batch means, hey, you're going to take multiple pages, and when I'm done, I'll tell you I'm done. Okay? The other will be, it won't have that toggle, so you're going to have to look for this part, where it's a camera with a plus sign. The camera with a plus sign just means I want to add a page with the camera. That's all it says. And once you do that, it tells the app that you're going to do it multiple times, so it's just going to let you guys go until you hit done. And then you can go back to those pages, look at it, going, is there any spirals? Is it pretty clear? Awesome. I can save this. If not, I got to pick a picture and recrop it so that, or retake the picture and then save it. Okay? So in your lab work, on the top, when you go into Canvas, on the top right, you will see start assignment. When you click on start assignment, on the bottom is where you can choose a file and submit the assignment. Okay? After you submit, if you go back to the top right-hand corner, it will say submitted, and it'll have the attachment that you have just uploaded. Because some of you guys are going to try to submit through an app. And your app is going to say submitted. And what's going to happen is that when you go back into Canvas, it won't say submitted. There will be nothing there. Okay? So in the app, it will work 8 times out of 10. But the question is, do you want to take that chance? Okay? Because if it's not submitted, I don't get it, I don't grade it. But if you do check, then at least you know it's there, I will grade it. Okay? And then you're going to come back going, but I swear I got a timestamp, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I didn't get it. Right? Timestamp or not, it's already done. Okay? Any questions? So those are 2 assignments that you're due. And then last but not least, there's always a section of don't forget. So don't forget your attendance verification. And here's what I'm going to suggest that you do. Download these 2 files. Open Notebook LM. Load those 2 files in there. And rename that notebook as Chance Class. This way you can always refer back to it. And let's say you have a question, type it in. It's like doing a Google search right inside my classroom. When's exam 5? According to the syllabus, there's no exam 5 because there's no exam 5. When's the final exam? It'll tell you. Right? What's the standards on lab work? It'll tell you. Okay? So this way, if you ever have a question, just ask. All right? And this is the syllabus in the PDF form anyways, or on the navigation menu, you can click on Simple Syllabus. It will also give you that too. Okay? So does that cover most of what you guys want so far? Now, if you notice on the very bottom, it also tells you when exam 1 is. Can you guys tell me when your exam 1 is? Is it going to be 29th or the 30th? 30th, because you guys come to class on Tuesday and Thursdays, right? So therefore, if you look across it, it says Thursday, January 30th. Okay? Now, if I go back to the Canvas homepage, can you tell me which week's exams are going to be? Why do you got to bring my skin color into this? Jeez Louise. No, just joking. Yes, correct. 4, 7, 10, and 15. Right? So if the exam 1 is in week 4, when do you expect to get the review? Week 3? Great. Let's check week 3. Oh, look at that. There is a review. And it says it's optional. That means you should probably do it, right? And there's exam 1. Still gives you the dates again, right? So I want to bring up exam week 4. Notice that the review is still there, and look at the lab work. So every exam is going to have an optional lab work there as well. Because here's the thing about lab work. You might do all 10 problems. I only grade 1 problem. But does it mean that if you didn't do number 2, I'm going to grade number 2 for you, and you didn't do number 5, I'm going to grade number 5 for you? No, I'm not going to do that. Because that would be unfair, right? So what I do is this. Before I even start grading lab work, I'll use a number generator, generate the number. Let's say it says 3. So for all 180 of my students, I'm going to grade number 3. If you happen to do 3 and it's right, awesome. If you happen to not do number 3, I'm not picking on you. It just happens to be number 3. Okay? Now, you're going to be like, but I got the other 9 problems right. Okay. Let's turn the script. What if number 3 was the only one you got right, and the other 9 problems are all totally wrong? Because does that happen in life? That we stop at every single stop sign, but the one time I come out of Walmart and saw an opportunity to get out on this busy road, I leave, and then there goes trouble bubble coming through? Does that happen? Yeah. Right? We do all the right things, and one time we do something wrong, we get caught. It happens. Right? Or sometimes we throw a Hail Mary, and we only did number 3, and we submitted it, and it happens to be number 3. Awesome. Should I mark off because I'm only grading number 3, and now I should mark off because you didn't do the other 9 problems? No. So, like I said, it's all about life, and that's how I do it. Okay? That's why I also have these optional lab work, because in case if bad luck does hit you, you have a second opportunity to replace that grade. Because it's optional, so it doesn't count towards your grade, but that grade will replace one of your lower grades. Is that fair? Okay. So, did I answer everybody's wants and needs on the Canvas homepage? Yes? Is there something I missed?
No. Just for clarification.
Absolutely.
Work,
yep.
So whenever you do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an app we scan it on specifically or something?
No, you can use any scanner you want.
Okay.
So on your phone, you can download like OneDrive, and then you can scan. Let me see if my OneDrive here has it or not. OneDrive. Yeah. See, like right here, if you look on the very bottom, there's a camera. So I could actually click on this. Right. Now I can just crop this. Right. And then I could just, from here, I just go back. Now I can hit check and like name it something, and it will save it in OneDrive. Mm-hmm.
So essentially, we want to print out the lab work if we're showing our work, or if we want to do it, I guess.
You can do it on paper.
Copy.
No, just do it on paper and then use this to scan it. Just say, so let's say I have this. See on the top right hand corner it says add more, so I can go add more and I can just take this and I could go, oh, avoid the shadows, do this. Ooh, bad cropping. Move the cropping. So look at the spiral goes away now, right? And it's in the angle. Ooh, still need to crop more. Missed the top. Hello. Where's my cropping? Dang it. There's supposed to be somewhere I can crop. I don't know where it is, man. But yeah, I should be able to crop this more as I go. So if I needed to, and I can submit from there. So you don't have to rewrite it. Now, I would say this, chances are you're not going to submit your first paper that you wrote as your first draft in for your English paper, right? Chances are you're going to refine it, you're going to do a spell check, you're doing all of that, and then you're going to submit it, right? Same thing here. So for the ones that have messy handwriting, my question is, can it be 1% better on your second draft? Can it be 1% better in your second draft? If yes, then I'm asking you guys to just try to do 1% better. Fair? Okay. And when you guys are writing, for some reason, paper today is a lot thinner than paper from yesterday. So when you guys, if you guys use pen and you press really hard, write on one side of the paper. Because then when you write on the other side of the paper, especially on something soft, that is going to press over. And when you scan it, that's all I see. I don't see like your work clearly. So please be careful with that. Okay. Any other questions? Is there anything that I did not answer yet that is on the Canvas homepage?
For example, I have an iPad with an Apple Pen.
Great.
Is that fine to do the work on that and then download it as a PDF and turn it like that?
Yeah. Absolutely. So the only thing I'm going to say about that, though, is that the what we know, let's say we got 3 of the similar problems. The what we know happens to be the same thing. I'm going to ask you to rewrite those 3 rather than duplicate. Okay? I'm going to ask you to rewrite it. Because, again, so far, everything that I've talked about in terms of study habit is rewriting. So I'll ask you just to rewrite. Even if you copy it, but rewriting it, I'm good with it. Okay? All right. So I know that some of you guys might use ChatGPT and saying, hey, what are the 5 things I need to know to do this problem? It gives you 5 things. Don't just copy that. Same thing with your paper. Take the notes that we just did. Take what Chat just said. Now put them together and write that down. But again, what I have on the notes, what ChatGPT is, and a little bit of your personality in there. That's what I want. So are you cheating? Yes, but no. Does that make sense? You're actually making it your own. All right? Because I believe it is my responsibility to try to help you guys on defining where the line is of cheating versus I'm no longer cheating. I'm having it help me, assist me, but not cheating. Okay? And that's what I want to make sure of. All right? Any questions? All right. Take out your notes. I'm going to word vomit these notes to you. Literally, it's going to be word vomit. Are you ready? All right, we're going to talk about complex numbers. Anybody remember complex numbers? So complex numbers are made of real parts. Or real number, of course. Which is the A. That's why it's in red, and that labeling is red. And the imaginary number, which is in blue. However, the B is your imaginary part. So notice my eye has a little tail to it, and the dot is, I made sure the dot is a dot, right? So meaning this. The reason why I have that tail is because when you write on your lab work, an eye like this, with a pencil, I'm not going to see the dot. So it's going to look like a 1 to me, okay? So make sure that your eye has a tail and that dot is obvious, okay? So your question might be, hey, what the heck is an eye? What does eye mean? Anybody? 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 It's a square root of -1. Correct. And if I was to square both sides, if I square the I, that's going to be what? I squared, which is going to be just -1. And the reason why I write it like this is because in case if you see anything on the left side, you're going to replace it with the right side. So if you see the square of -1, you're going to replace it with I. If you see I squared, you're going to replace it with -1. And the reason why we do that now is so that we can actually solve, not solve, but simplify things like this, like the square root of -45. So anytime I see a square root of a negative number, I'm always going to pull out the -1. And then I'm going to break down the square root of 45 into prime numbers. Like prime factorization. You're going to be, what the heck is that? Let's simplify that. Remember factor trees? 45 breaks down to 5 times 9. 5 is a prime. You bring that down. 9 is 3 times 3. So I have 3 times 3 times 5. And what's the index with a square root? So we're looking for pairs, and we see a pair here. And yes, you're right. So what we have here is the problem is that at some point they're going to ask you to put it in A plus BI form. So what would that be in A plus BI form? Ooh. So the reason why the BI is there as imaginary is because anything attached to the I is imaginary. So the 3 and the square root of 5, are they attached to the I? They've been multiplying, so they've been all infected. Okay? So therefore, they're all imaginary. So is there a real part? Answer is no. There's no real part, so we're going to call it with 0. So what's your question right now? Why the I at the end? Okay. So remember how I said, hopefully this loudness doesn't hurt you. Remember the form is A plus BI form. Make sense? So that's why the I has to be at the end, because this represents the B. Because they've been multiplying, so that's why they're all infected. So that's why this is the imaginary part. There's no real part because there's nothing that's not attached to the I. Yes?
You put the 0 in place of a real method?
Correct. Same thing if I was to do this. If I said 2 and convert that to A plus BI, that is going to be 2 plus 0I. Because there's no imaginary part, I'm going to put 0 as a placeholder for it. Okay, doke? Now, okay. Let's talk about dividing complex numbers. So I'm skipping around the notes a little bit. This is what the end is. So with dividing complex numbers, what you need to understand is this. I can either divide by a monomial or binomial. But the process of doing those two has to be separated. One cannot work for the other. With monomial, it's very easy because, well, first of all, dividing doesn't really mean dividing, by the way. It really is a fraction that has an I in the denominator. That's all it's talking about. And we can't have I in the denominator because we can't have radicals in the denominator. So what should we do? We just have to multiply by I. But if we do it to the bottom, we have to. Beautiful. So that way we have 2I over negative 3. Do we know how I got negative 3? Because of the I squared, correct. And I can't have that as the answer because I can't have negatives in the denominator. So either it can be in the center, in front, or above. One or the other, but definitely not in the denominator. Are we okay there? And for the binomial, I'm going to use something different. I know I'm kind of pushing and pushing you guys a little bit here. I'm going to actually use something different. So notice that in the denominator, I have a binomial. And that's what it means by dividing them by a binomial. So if I can't use the process that I use for monomial because if I multiply this by I, the I is still going to be there. So what do I have to multiply by? And the opposite, she means the conjugate. And the conjugate means that it is the same exact terms, except if one is subtracting, the other one is adding. That's what the conjugate means. If I do it to the bottom, I have to do it to the top. And if I was to multiply this, I'm going to get 21 plus 6i over, I'll write the whole thing out on the bottom here, 49 plus 14i minus 14i. And let's see if you guys catch on to this. Do we see where the plus 4 came from? Because positive 2i and negative 2i gives you a negative 4i squared. I squared is negative 1, so we're going to become positive 4. So therefore, I'm going to have here okay. Now, I'm just going to send this as a reminder, aka I'm going to leave you guys responsible for it because I'm only going to have 1.4 being due for this Saturday in MLM. Again, with the lab work, I'm sure that you're going to be able to do at least 1 to 2 problems. The part that's missing here is about adding, subtracting, and multiplying. This is what I'm going to say to you. If it's in radical form, make sure you simplify the radicals first before you add or multiply them. Okay? If it's already in complex number form, treat the I as if it was an X. So if you have a 3i and a 5i, those two add together 8i. If it's just numbers, then the numbers would add together. Make sense? And if it's like 2i plus 3 squared, that means 2i plus 3 times 2i plus 3. So I'll have to double distribute / FOIL those out. Okay? So I'm just going to do an overview there, but please, if you guys want to, hit the video on week 1, 1.4, and just look at that piece of it. I know I'm pushing it. I'm sorry. But I'm going to push 1.5 and 1.6 to next week, and we'll go over 1.4 and 1.5 and 1.6 next week. All right? Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, please have a wonderful, blessed day. Please be safe. Love you guys. See you guys on Tuesday. Later. Yes. Go for it.
So there's 10 questions. Is it going to be any of those 10 questions?
Yes. It'll be one of them. That's what I'm saying. Like, do the best you can. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking for anything in particular. I'm just seeing what I explained to you guys about lab work and how you present it and what you got out of it. And then we'll just do feedback, and then this way you know what to really expect on lab work.
Okay. So I did this lesson
Yep.
on Pearson, and this is the form that Pearson makes you put it in. Is that?
Because it's probably asking for A plus BI form.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. So I tried doing this the first time, and it didn't let me, so I did that.
Yep.
Is
So if it asks you for A plus BI form, you do have to split the
that okay.
fraction.
All right. Thank you.
And the I is at the end.
Yes. Thank
Yep.
you.
You're welcome.
If you go to the BiblioU, on the left-hand side where it says access Pearson, BiblioU, it'll give you an access.
Yes.
I wanted to ask about attendance for the class before this one,
Okay.
because I came in late and I already was out.
Okay. What about it?
How do you do attendance then?
I don't.
You don't? Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to check. Alright.
If I want to treat you guys like adults, I'm not going to worry about attendance of you. So that's why it doesn't bother me any.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are you girls good?
Yes, thank you.
Are we sure?
We haven't seen each other in a while, so.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Stay out of trouble.